Dog days are over. Dog days are over. Dog days are over. That's really hard to clap along
Yeah.
and sing.
Phil Collins can do it.
Well, I'm not Phil Collins.
You're not?
Him and his potato drums.
Potato.
What?
Yeah, his
Oh.
potato drums. That's a really dumb joke. It's not even my joke. That's joke plagiarism.
Nope, I'm keeping it in.
You never know. The dumb jokes might get a huge laugh from our listeners. That's the part, is that we never know what they're finding funny until somebody mentions it, tweets about it.
Yeah, hey,
or
someone
whatever.
tweet at us with like a voice memo of you laughing if you found any of an episode funny.
Yeah,
We
start a
would really
YouTube
appreciate
channel and film yourself listening to our show. And
Yeah, don't listen out loud or anything. Listen to it in headphones. So it's just you staring at a
we
camera.
can't hear it.
And then don't tell us when you start or anything, so we can't even sync it up. Just go ahead and laugh out loud for us.
But in the PIP screen, the picture-in-picture screen, make sure you have it up on the artwork of the show. But we don't. But we can't hear what's happening.
This is why
yeah, you could go ahead and produce some content for us. That would be really fantastic.
You go ahead
This is
and
why we needed
just create
TikTok,
a
so
show
they
for
could just
yourself.
duet us. They just duet us, then we're done.
Yeah, but
There's
then
the
we have
content.
to choose what part of the show they think is funny, and then somebody has to duet us. Then we'll be like, you know, if they laugh or not. So that's fun.
That was fun right there.
You're listening to the Janchi Show, hosted by 3 Korean American adoptees diving headfirst into what it means to be adopted, Korean American, and more. And now, here's your hosts, Nathan, Patrick, and KJ.
Welcome back to the Janchi Show. I am Nathan.
And that's
Long
the show.
pause. I am here with co-hosts Patrick and KJ.
I'm a bad co-host.
They let me have
Why are you a
that
bad
long
co-host?
pause there. I don't know
I
why.
didn't, because I didn't yes and Nathan. I am, I think, the worst of the 3 co-hosts. KJ. Hello, everyone.
I think I'm also the worst co-host. Patrick.
Nope.
Hello.
You're the dictator of the podcast.
Yeah,
More
I
like
think
the
we've already
dictator.
established this, haven't we?
Just because I'm being the dictator would denote that I am the worst one of all of them.
I mean, ethically, yes, but you know, in terms of production quality, I think that you're
Well, I don't-
really high up there.
I mean, I don't
so-
think that we've stated I'm a tyrannical dictator or a benevolent dictator. I
Okay,
think there's a
let's not get
difference.
into
True.
the ethics of
Semantics.
tyranny and
Yeah.
other things. You know, I'm just saying ethically, you're the worst. Production quality, you're the best.
Well, I mean,
So,
tomato,
for me,
potato.
it's the opposite. I think I have the moral high ground, but I have like I'm the baseline, like absolute worst for production quality. So
Don't do it, Anakin. I have the high ground. You underestimate my power. I
And-
you.
That is the Janchi Show, where we just make random Star Wars quotes.
oh
And
yeah, sorry, somebody rein us in.
If you don't know that, then keep up. But
That was fun.
we are the Janchi Show. We are not about Star Wars quotes. We are about Korean adoption.
Hey, don't tell me what I'm not about.
Don't tell me what I am
Korean
or am
adoption
not about.
Jedis. Hey, that's true. Technically, as we've already discussed, Star Wars has adoption-related topics, so it all works. But we are the Janchi Show.
We are.
happy to be here. Patrick, what does Janchi mean for the new listeners?
For new listeners, Janchi, we define it as coming together in celebration over a feasting of snacks and also a celebration of our heritage and our identities as Koreans, Americans, and adoptees. Yeah, that's pretty much
Hopefully,
it.
Jedis.
That's what we run with. I am a Jedi.
Oh yeah.
Well, what are we talking about
and-
today, KJ?
Yo, today we're digging into the Korean Culture Dictionary by Ssam Jang to talk about the dog days of summer and also other weird Korean foods. Weird by American standards, I guess. I don't think the Korean food think their own food is weird. Korean
No.
people think their own food is weird. But
True.
as American Koreans who are also adopted, it
Yeah.
can be odd, perceptively.
I mean,
you know?
technically, when you say odd food, I mean, every culture has their odd food. So let's be honest. Let's,
It's
it may
different.
be different. Let's just not call it odd. Yeah. So
Oh yeah.
it was interesting that
Oh,
they
yeah.
called the one thing, though, the first thing that it started with was talking about what do you eat on a hot summer day? And I think a lot of people would probably agree that they would eat cold things like ice cream or, sweet tea or lemonade or popsicles. I don't know, something cold, right? That's what everyone wants. But I have heard some people say that they like hot things. And I guess that's what some Koreans do is they eat hot soup. Do you guys eat hot soup on a hot day?
Well, I mean, I like to eat hot stuff on hot days because it makes me sweat a lot. So, and the sweat then cools me down. And then that's just how science works. Thank you.
Wow, that is very Korean of you.
Yeah. And
thank you.
And you never read that. You just decided to do that someday.
No, I did. I mean, that's just how I roll because I like hot stuff. And I'm learning that that's probably part of the Korean in me is going towards the hot and the spicy. I will say that this had probably the thing that caught my eye the most. Talking about, I will hopefully pronouncing this correctly, ilchil, fighting fire with fire. Essentially talking about the balance, and that's why they choose to eat a hotter thing on a hotter day because it helps to balance out internally, balancing that out. So essentially, your exterior body is very hot, which makes inside a little bit cold, a little bit cooler. I think is what it says in the book, and so I like the idea of that balance because I think it's
이열치열.
이열치열. Isn't that what I said?
이열치열.
이열치열. Well, 이열치열. 치열.
열.
열.
Yeah.
열. Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah, and there's like a strong Y in there, so 이열치열.
이열치열. It's weird to say it like that, even though it's
열치열.
Yeah, 열치열. Like that. Anyways, I just liked it because I like the idea of balance because I think that when we talked about the flag, it's talking about balancing out all of the different elements of the flag. And I think balance is something that in Korean society, they really strive for, I guess, even though there are things that are typically imbalanced. And then there are also things like Han and Jung, where you're finding yourself on one extreme or the other. So I feel like even though we're talking about food, this chill is that balance, is that middle ground, which I thought was interesting, and also relating to hot foods on hot days.
If it's hot, why fight it? Eat the hot stuff.
If it's hot,
and
let
typically,
it
or it's specifically saying soups too, or not all soups, I guess, just hot health food. Boyangsik. Health food.
Boyangsik. So so this section opens up with the idea of the dog days of summer, or the Korean word boknal. So the dog days of summer, as it's translated, is mid-July to early August. Is that right? No, mid-July to mid-August.
Yeah,
with
10 days
10
and
to
20 days.
Mm-hmm.
In between each, respectively.
Oh, there's two sections of. I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I was reading too fast. So here it says right here, boknal comes in 3 parts, or sambok, chobok, and jungbok. Interesting.
No, chobok, jungbok, and malbok.
Nope. Yep, you're right, guys. Here's the deal.
I was just all 3 days.
I was
somebody was enjoying the summer already.
I was at the pool, trying to cool off from the dog days of summer in Texas, and all right. So I'm a little sun drunk, if you will.
Hey, sun drunk.
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Sure.
I think it's called sunburn.
Most people call it sunburn. But yeah.
No, I'm not sunburned, but just how your brain is after you spend all day at the pool and then you come back and you're just like, what even happened to me? So
very much.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's boknal is the dog days of summer, which is where eating the hot foods comes into play. I actually did this upon arriving in Dallas. I was meeting up with a friend, and he decided to let's go for Korean food. So I had the samgyetang, because I had previewed this section before I had really read it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try this. It's a hot day, and I don't want to eat hot soup, but I did it, and then I cooled off for the rest of the day, and I was like, hey, you're pretty smart, Koreans. I see you with your hanehak, which is the traditional Korean medicine. So
it sounds good. Ginseng chicken soup.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's restoring your balance and replenishing your body with essential nutrients. And I like the last line. It says, by the time you put down the bowl, you'll be soaked in sweat. And you know you're
Yeah.
ready to make it through the Korean summer, which sounds
She is spicy
horrible.
one. Yeah. So.
I know. I mean, I on a regular day I get the food sweats, so why do I need hot soup?
If I go outside and it's above freezing, even 1 degree above freezing, I'm just pouring down sweat. It's terrible. It's so terrible.
I did learn something new though, because one of the soups it talks about is chuoteng. Chuotang, which is loach soup, and I had to look up what a loach was, which is
what is it?
Type of fish. Kind of has little whiskers, looks like a little mini catfish. But
Was it good?
I had to look that up because I was like, loach. That does not sound appetizing, but it's just a fish. So.
Oh, you've
I'm
not
gonna be
had
honest,
it before.
No soup or porridge ever really sounds that appetizing to me. Even on a cold day when it would make sense for me to eat those things. I'm just not a big soup, stew, porridge kind of person.
Same.
So it's kind of a bummer for me to find out that those are like real staples of Korean food. I'm like, nah,
Same.
I might skip out on some of that.
Wow.
As a person wrestling with an intersectional identity, I'll just be like, I'll eat it, but like, I don't know if I'll like eat it a ton.
Yeah.
Seek it out.
I'll do the
We love-
one bowl to
we
be
love soup.
respectful, and then I'm done with it. I'm moving on to another thing.
Yeah, we eat a lot of soups over here. My kids like the soups. I mean, we were just talking last week about going to Benihana, and they have that onion soup, and both my kids like it a lot, which I never would have thought they would have liked that. So now I need to, I don't know, maybe I need to introduce them to like a French dip or something. But
Well, I like French dip.
All
I
right.
do like a French dip.
so, but yeah,
that's
we eat a
different.
lot of
I'll dip things all day.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Soups. I don't want to dip my spoon in no soup. So
kind of the same.
Yeah, I like
thing.
the
it's not.
control
It's so
the amount of
different.
What about
The soup,
dipping
the
crackers
spoon is
in
not a
soup?
carb.
What about-
okay,
what about crackers?
I'll dip carbs in a liquid all day.
Okay.
So that's where we're at. All
Yeah.
right, Patrick. What are some other boyangshik or other health foods?
Oh, so there's Dambokjang, which is abalone rice porridge.
Abalone.
Abalone.
Yeah, it's essentially a
Where's the
mollusk.
Y?
It
No,
looks
I'm
like it looks like a snail, or a clam kind of thing. They're very expensive.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting.
And
Then go ahead.
They serve a lot of the abalone and Chinese multi-course meals.
I feel like I've heard of abalone before, or at least seen that word around. But
Yeah, it's
apparently
pretty-
I've been
You're thinking of,
pronouncing
like,
it incorrectly.
Albacore.
Albacore. I don't know
You know,
what
like
that
the tuna. Yeah.
Wait, what? Not a big
There's
tuna guy.
abalone and then albacore tuna.
Okay.
That's how you say that, right?
Moving on.
My abalone has a first name.
Okay.
Homer.
The next thing we have, the next boyangshik we have, the next boyangshik we have. I'm saying that good. I don't know why I had to qualify that, but
Hey, I
nakji
approve your pronunciation.
bokum, which is
Mhm.
stir fried octopus.
That's good.
Have you guys had octopus before in any form?
Oh yes.
I have. And Korean octopus is different than other octopus that I've eaten.
What was the difference between the Korean and then whatever the other octopus was?
Well, I guess in my mind, I like when I had octopus the one time, I was thinking like, oh, I eat calamari, I'll enjoy octopus, but it's like meatier, like there's more to it, and so it's like more chewy and squishy and like not like seafoody. I hate when people describe things as like fishy, but like, it's just like you taste
Especially
this.
fish. I hate it when they go, "This fish is fishy."
Yeah, like that's a bad thing. But like you ordered fish, you'd be like, God, this steak is steaky. And like, well, you ordered the steak. What were you expecting? Some chicken tasting steak? Anyways, yeah. So I was expecting like squid, and so when I ate the octopus, I was like, oh, this is very different. So I think mostly I just hadn't set my expectation well. But yeah, it's just bigger and chewy and like it's just different,
I think it's different how it's cooked as well. I mean, I've had some
Yeah.
really
Well,
good...
stir fried is also different than like deep fried.
Sure. Well, I've never had deep fried octopus. I've only had like grilled octopus, and it's more of like a nice restaurant style seafood place. So they're cooked very like perfectly, I would say, and it cuts like a almost like a giant shrimp. I would say, the way it feels, and so those are really good to me. I think that's the way I can eat it. I don't know if I'd eat it stir fried as well, but And I've had it on tacos before. There was a fusion place that I went to that had a fusion octopus tacos.
Interesting.
And those were pretty good too. So,
I've-
I don't know.
I've
Depends on how
only
you
had
cook
it
I
one
guess.
time in Spain when I was a senior in high school. Didn't care for it. Didn't care for it. I think I was.
But I'm sure even that would be such a different presentation.
I felt like it was
We'll
a piece of octopus that they just cut off the octopus right in front of us and handed it out.
Well, then that sounds like what we're going to talk about in a little bit, but we'll get to that.
Okay, we got two more. The next one is Jango Gui. Did I say that right? Close?
Yeah, Jango.
Jango Gui. Okay, which is grilled eel. And dakjuk, which is chicken rice porridge. That one sounds pretty.
Those are some listed boyang chic health foods.
Dakjuk from the black and white picture of the book looks pretty good.
I really wish there was
solid
color. Food in black and white just does not do it for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the next part of the book goes into, I guess, what KJ was talking about earlier about what could be considered weird or strange or different foods and why.
Or controversial. So trigger alert.
Yeah, something
warning.
that I actually feel like I've been seeing it go around a little bit more, but specifically the next section talks about it's titled, Why Do Koreans Eat Dogs? And so it's a pretty interesting section. I mean, what do you guys take away from this? I think for me, I thought what was very interesting about the book and the way that they positioned talking about it, I felt like they went into a deep dive into justifying the practice of eating dog meat. And I think that's what I was really hung up on. I thought it was weird. I felt like it was kind of out of place in the way that they talked about it and got so specific when I feel like we've been getting really surface level on a lot of other stuff. And I'm not calling them out in any way. I'm just saying the way that I kind of read this section was strange to me. I was wondering kind of what you guys got out of it.
I was dreading reading this section because I knew it was coming because I perused the book a little bit prior and saw that it was a topic. And I've seen videos on it in the past, so I know that it's done, and I know that it's still done, and I know it's controversial. I love animals, so I did like that it talked about how it is a decreasing practice for anybody who might have similar hesitations as I do to this topic, and so that made me feel a little bit better. But I mean, again, it's dogs, and they even went as far as to state the breed of dog, which I thought was interesting. Not that makes it any different to me. Like, oh yeah, that's the breed I don't like, so it's okay that they're killing those for meat. So.
Well, it says that dog is specifically bred for that purpose, and okay. So I guess to clarify, when I'm talking about them going very deep in terms of justification, they also point out how during the siege of Paris and the German blockade that citizens were looking for alternate sources of food, which led to that. And like just pointing out different countries that utilize dog meat, that's where I thought it was strange to go out of that way. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, it's just something that they used, that they found as a source of meat at some point. I feel like I need to read specifically a little bit more into it, but well,
I know. So dog, I mean, a lot of people think because it's domesticated animal and they're very smart, and it's how can you kill a dog for meat? But at the same time, I know there are some countries like Japan that cook horse. And, I know a lot of people who would find that appalling because horses are, so loved and utilized and ridden. And I mean, why would you eat horse? But, I don't know. Everyone look at old Wilbur, or, any movie where there's an animal that's talking from Disney, that's probably been cooked and eaten. So, it makes me want to go vegetarian after I read the section, but
How do you feel about other meats like fish or steak or lamb or pork or chicken?
Fish, I'm completely fine eating any type. I don't have any connections with fish. So other animals, pig and cows, probably not so much. I don't eat veal, because I don't like that idea. But yeah, there's definitely some meats that I am more against than others. Again, I think it's just a preference. But
yeah, I think for me, so I thought this section was really interesting, and I wanted to read just kind of the opening thing. So it said, it wasn't until very recently that samgyetang became synonymous with health food. Before that, the undisputed number one king was boshintang. The soup, which uses dog meat as its main ingredient, has been believed to provide rich nutrients to heat-weary Koreans while promoting stamina, as the name invigorating soup implies. The original name was gaejangguk, or dog soup. And so the thing I think there's a number of things that are interesting. So just in the history of like eating dog meat and all of this with Korea, I think it's really interesting and unfortunate, but like interesting that the dish itself has gone through a number of rebrands. The book cites the 88 Olympics held in South Korea as like the main like inciting incident for mostly Western countries being like, how dare you eat dogs? And they're like, but we've done this for thousands of years, you know?
Right.
And so it went through, it was called Yongtang and Sachol-tang, two different like seasons, or sorry, two different names for it to like stay under the radar, but for people to continue eating food. So for me, it just feels like Patrick, I kind of get what you're saying by like, oh man, this book really goes like out of its way to explain this. But like also for me, I'm like, there were a bunch of Christians in South of America who went out of their way to use the Bible to justify slavery.
Oh,
so,
sure. Yeah,
you know, I mean, it's like, it's one of those things like, if you feel like your way of life is being oppressed and being like disparaged by an outside force, then like, you know, you would go out of your way. Not that I'm saying that we should use the Bible to to promote slavery. I feel like may have chosen the wrong side for that metaphor, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
They're justifying it in a way.
Yeah, I think my point is like, it's more just like, I don't know. I thought about like, the first thing I thought about was how in, I think it's just Hindu like religious, like the religion Hindu, not like all of India, but in Hindu, am I saying that right? The Hindu religion, whatever, that like cows are considered sacred, so you don't eat cow meat, right? Or for Islam, they don't eat pork, because I think that's considered like a unclean animal. Same with Judaism, as far as I remember. You know, some sects of Judaism at least. So like, I think that there's lots of stigma around eating lots of different meats, you know.
Right.
And so it just felt like the author was really working to, like, since he's writing this for a Western audience, getting deep into like, well, here's like the history of it, you know, and like why we're talking about this. Like, it's not like we're not just like, oh, we hate dogs, and so it was like, no, it's just like, actually, like realistically, the only dogs that made sense, or the only meat that made sense for us to eat back in the day, was chicken and dog, and like chickens laid eggs and stuff, and also were good for meat. So it's like, I mean, it just kind of fell to dogs, you know. And then it wasn't until the West really came in and Korea opened its borders to the global community that they were like, hey, how dare you do that, you know. And then it cites like some shifts in modern day Korea and how that changes perception as well. So without getting into like animal rights practices and like the breeding and prepping of meat and like all of those kinds of things, I think just culturally it's important to think about and realize, like, you know, we're just different cultures, and I think it is harsh to judge a square on how much it looks like a circle, if, you know, that's just like not how it's meant to be. But
I do appreciate you saying that, and I want to walk back me saying that it was more of a I just want to walk back in terms of saying it was a justification. That was the wrong descriptor. I think they're working very hard to provide context, like a needed context as to why this has been the case. In the next part of the book, we're kind of going to be talking about something similar. But yeah, just what I had said before, I was just like, even listening to you talk about it, KJ, and thinking about what I had said, I'm like, okay, that actually didn't really sit right with me, and I do apologize for the way that came out. But yes, I think that they are working very hard to provide needed context, because this is something that gets taken out of context on the daily to spew hate and derogatory things towards Asian Americans, Koreans specifically. So I don't, so I just wanted to
And maybe that's
breakfast
why
with
they're
them.
explaining that it's happened in Germany and Paris and other countries
Yeah.
too. They're showing it's a worldwide practice. It did say something that
Exactly.
Koreans kind of took the bad rap for.
Yeah, they definitely became the
Exactly.
scapegoat.
Yeah,
For
the
countries
scapegoat
that
for
eat.
all
Yeah.
countries, that
Exactly.
did it. And
So
and they're
context.
like you
Looking
said,
at you, mainland China and Taiwan and other countries.
It did say China ate more, so it's very interesting facts and background on it. It's everyone can have their opinion on it. It's something that I always wondered, and there's a lot more information than I expected to read out of it. Like I said, I kind of wanted to skip the section, but that's.
But actually, thinking about it, I'm glad that it is so in depth because I wouldn't probably ever pursue that piece of knowledge had we not done this and read it in the book. So I appreciate the context, and I'm saying context a lot because I'm trying to make up for the probably offensive way that I described it earlier. So I do apologize if you're listening, Woo-sung and Edward. Okay.
But we're on a first name basis, so
we're
it's
friends
fine.
now.
Slide into Patrick's DMs and tell him about how you're angry at him.
Yes,
because you're
please
besties
do.
now.
We are best friends, so you can obviously share your opinions about me with me. So that's
speaking of perception too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Talking about maggot juice, which I had heard of, but obviously is a complete falsity.
Yep.
So
yeah, we were just talking about this too, weren't we, with our last guest?
Future guest, I think.
Last guest, which will be a future aired episode or
a guest
past
whose
episode.
Conversation you will hear.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so confusing.
The
One of our
timeline.
guests, we spoke about this.
Can we get the
recent
TVA in here?
let's do it.
guest. But they on social media posted that they were it's a maggot juice, but it was not maggot juice. It was a prank, and it was actually just a Korean rice punch, just made with rice and other flavors in it. It was kind of creamy looking and stuff. So yeah,
Probably just some
Shiki.
milkus. Just kidding.
just
It
some
actually
milkus.
is shike.
Some milk.
Is that what?
Chikie. Yeah.
Shike.
Yeah. And
I feel like it's important. Like the book says, the internet went crazy when a foreign couple traveling in Korea posted a picture of a milking drink and said Koreans drink maggot juice, which they later said was just a harmless prank, but the damage was already done.
Right.
So, to call traditional rice punch maggot juice because it has some floating rice kernels, it's a rough time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that look like other things.
Yeah. But
in the United States too, right? So
yeah, but at the bottom of this one, talking about the bondegi, that is something we talked about. I think it was it made it in the interview with Nick Messersmith. He had talked about eating that, and he said we needed to try it. And we, I'm pretty sure we looked it up and almost we were like, and then we were like, no,
we're not gonna do that.
Not. So what is bondegi, Nathan?
It is silkworm pupa. So little
I'm not
little
about
bugs.
to eat. Not about to eat fossilized bugs.
Yeah, but hey, it is rich in
bugs.
protein, vitamins, and amino acids.
I don't care.
And,
Listen, I'm not Hidalgo. Okay, not about that life.
You wouldn't even try it once.
No, I had a friend.
Hakuna Matata.
No, slimy and satisfying are not two words that I want to ever say about a food. That's also why I don't eat okra, because okra is slimy. Okay,
Yeah.
Interesting. I like fried okra.
So yeah, I mean, no, fried okra is okay. I'll eat
Okay.
anything that's deep fried. Generally,
Sure.
generally.
Same.
Cricket. Deep fried
But
cricket.
I mean, if I can't tell that it's a cricket and I ate it and didn't know, then that would probably be fine. But like Hidalgo, Viggo Mortensen eats a bug, and I'm like, nah. I have a friend who ate a tarantula in Cambodia, and I did not know that she had that kind of bravery and adventurous palate. But that's not for me.
Yeah, it brings back memories of the old TV series Fear Factor, where they're eating all these weird foods. But then, if you're thinking about it, some other countries are probably going, "What? That's normal. It's just a food. It's a delicacy."
Yeah, that's not. I'm not yucking anyone's yum. That's just not a yum for me.
Yeah. So speaking of octopus that we were talking about earlier, there's another section real quick here that talked about live octopus, which we've mentioned before about live octopus, and we've seen it in locations and stuff. However, it wasn't really live. It was like sushi where it was live at one point, but then quickly chopped up and coated with sesame oil and sprinkled with sesame and other things like that. So it was moving because it was just recently cut up. like
reflex action.
Reflex, yeah.
Although I
I've
have seen videos of people eating live octopus.
sure,
But that feels
little
like
ones.
just that feels like the same as your friend eating a
a
tarantula.
live goldfish or something like that. I've seen that happen.
Ugh.
And it does say that these come with significant risks. So this is our Janchi disclaimer: do not try it because death is not uncommon. And there you go. That is our disclaimer. Moving on.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't even read that sentence. Interesting. Well, I would have died. So, yeah, KJ, do you want to talk about just some other things that have been kind of misunderstood that it talks about here?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start actually at the bottom of this page because I think it's interesting, and maybe like the most relevant to our readers.
Okay.
So if ever you see our readers, our listeners, if ever you see LA Galbi, that is not like Los Angeles style K barbecue. The LA actually refers to the lateral cut. So it's just a different way that galbi is cut as opposed to regular cut galbi.
And that's the one with the bones is the LA galbi, and then the one without the bone is like just strips.
With a little hoof-looking rib,
a little hoof at the end. So,
I
that's the one
I thought that was interesting.
That's the one I'm typically used to eating. Actually, is the one with the bone still in it.
The LA galbi,
the LA cut. Yeah, they make that.
I've never seen it like that.
They make that
I
a
saw
lot.
it in this
Well,
book.
maybe
and then I saw it in Koreatown. Then I was like, oh hey,
yeah,
So
it's popular in LA, and that's maybe why people have thought that it is the LA version or whatnot. But a lot of the times when I've bought it out there, that's how it's come, and you make it and you eat it off the bone and everything, like a little mini rib kind of thing. But yeah, that was news to me too. So that was interesting. I did not know.
I did not know there were two different names, so it was new to me too.
Yeah.
Heyo.
So this next section is just like funny mistranslations, essentially, which I think are really funny. So the first one is chicken anus. Dambokjang refers to chicken gizzard, but is erroneously translated as chicken's poop pocket / house. So that's really good because dongjip means poop house. So that's amazing. That's my new dish.
I was gonna say,
I know.
Is you freaking dongjip?
Don't be a dongjip.
Yeah, you poop house.
That's our first kid's new middle name.
Wow, you heard it. It is on the record. So
no.
Patrick and Emily's first child will be first name redacted.
I'm sorry,
Dongjip.
Emily. Sorry.
Last name
Armstrong.
redacted. No, redacted.
Oh, yeah.
They
Okay,
don't.
Yeah. So that's interesting, but it's just chicken gizzards. The next one is knife noodles, which is galguksu, which refers to the type of noodle that is cut with a knife, but it's just translated as knife noodle.
Don't make me cut you with this noodle.
Yeah. Well, it just sounds like they just shred your throat, and that's how Koreans get into screamo music, is they eat some knife noodles and then just go into the studio and record.
I like screamo music.
And finally, bear soup, which is gomtang. It is traditionally translated or erroneously translated, as bear soup because gom means well-boiled. Meaning well-boiled is a homonym with the animal gom or bear. So it's because we don't have that hanja anymore is why it's often erroneously translated.
Interesting.
Bear soup. Another interesting. I'm sure there's a lot of things like that are just not translated correctly, and these were just 3 in the book. But if you guys know any more, I would love to hear about them.
Yeah, but man, dongjip, that's so funny.
Sorry, son or daughter. So the same house, gender neutral.
My new cuss word. My kids won't know.
I should say poop house is vernacular for stomach or big intestine. So
yeah,
poop house.
I'm gonna be saying that on my bachelor party a whole bunch, and all my white friends are gonna go, "What are you saying?"
Like, why aren't you more Korean, white friends?
Yeah. Like, why aren't you learning all of this along with me?
Yeah. Don't you listen to every episode of the Janchi Show?
Yeah. And they're like, what?
Even my
and I'm
friends?
like, ugh. Anyways, all right.
Like, well, Janchi, yeah.
We don't have to talk about that.
And then we come to something some of you may know more about, which is Jang.
Yeah.
What was it?
It is a Korean sauce and paste. It is the staple of Korean cuisine. It is in many things, lots of things. I'm sure everybody is familiar with gochujang.
Or not. I don't know. I happenstance learned about gochujang like right before we started the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Same.
I was
But-
gonna say, well, that is probably the most popular Jang, right? I mean, I would assume
What?
now
The most
at
popular
least.
what?
Jang. Jang. Sorry.
Patrick is
Thank
just
you.
calling you out. Here's
I
the
know.
deal. It's a
I
safe
need to be
space when it's
corrected.
when it's anyone else is here. But if it's just the three of us,
Yeah. Nope.
just so much.
Safety.
That's okay.
Safety's
I
off.
need to be
So much
corrected.
dongjip is
so that I do
flying
not
around.
It was-
sound.
you said it right the first time.
I know.
And then it went to a hard jang, and I was like, "That's funny."
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because
You
I
take
know
the
that
boy
as
out of
a name, and I don't know. It's just
Yeah. No, I get you.
like, yeah, that's like the first thing I read about it, and yeah, no, correct me, please.
I mean,
And
you
when-
said it right the first time, so I was just helping
Well,
you along.
For that, then, what are the other ones, Patrick? Can you pronounce some of the other jangs?
All the jangs. So there's ganjang, which is soy sauce, and in there we have 3 examples. Makganjang, which is the common soy sauce used for dipping meju, which is dried
Meiju
fermented
is
soybean.
bricks of fermented soybean.
Yeah, so at the very bottom of
Let's
the
just talk
page,
about bricks of
yeah, let's talk
soybeans.
about that because that is the basis a lot for all these types of sauces too. It is essentially dried fermented soybeans that have been
Oh.
pounded into a brick and then laid out for fermentation and things like that. I want to find. I did look them up because I wanted to see what a color version of the photo would look like.
Yeah.
And it's brown. I mean,
How
it
big
is.
is? How big are they? Are they chip size or
like brick size? I mean, if
Like a
not
brick?
bigger. Yeah.
Oh, and you're
Ouch.
supposed to just dip that in some sauce and then eat it? That seems
No,
excessive.
you don't eat it. I mean,
Oh,
you
you don't eat
use it and you break it up and you mix it in a lot of these things. I mean, it's made for soy sauce and all these other things, but yeah, it's just
Oh,
soybeans.
okay. I was reading that. I misunderstood when
Okay,
it says
it's the
common soy sauce
basis.
made by dipping meiju. I thought it was like you dip.
Not common
The
soy
meiju.
sauce used
Yes.
for dipping meiju.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
just
my
told me you
bad.
just bite into a brick.
No, it is not the grilled cheese of Korea. It is.
See, but also really quickly, meiju colloquially used as a metaphor for an ugly person.
I
So
know.
So if you
Sorry.
call someone a meiju
Meiju.
dongjip, they're an ugly poop
ugly
house.
poop house.
That's like
Sheesh.
the worst insult ever. Yeah.
All right. So the other of the ganjangs are gyopjang, which is a thicker aged soy sauce, and yoganjang,
Oganjang.
oganjang, which is soy sauce made from fish, which has been fermented for more than a year with salt. So
That
right
sounds
up
like
Nathan's
just like a
alley.
fish sauce, like a like a yeah. That sounds pretty good.
Oh,
I love
okay.
fish sauce.
So the next category is bean paste, which is doenjang.
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 All right. See the O and the E getting me mixed up. Doenjang.
Yeah, but if it's EO,
Right,
it's
it's
one
O.
thing. It's
Yeah.
the whole thing. I don't know.
All right. So we got 2 bean paste. Tojang, which is made by mashing the meju that's not been used for making ganjang. And then makdoenjang.
Makdoenjang.
Yes. Made by mixing the meju after using it for making soy sauce with salt, barley rice, and chili powder.
These all sound like very similar, but yet slightly different. Some of them keep the meiju. Some of them are like pre or post meiju. Like is it because the meiju is like, I don't know, less potent after it's been used to make some of these sauces, and then they used to use it afterwards?
I guess because there's so much of it, like you can
Yeah.
probably just continue.
No
You're probably
waste
just
kind of
making
thing.
all of the different
Yeah, I
sauces
think
at
it's-
once.
I think it is the no waste. You
Yeah.
just
Oh,
keep
yeah,
dipping
yeah, yeah.
bricks
Keep using
until the
it.
bricks fall apart.
right.
And then the little bit that's left, you can't dip anymore. But if you mash it together, then you make dojang.
Yeah,
All right, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
that's
Okay.
pretty neat.
Next category: fermented bean paste, which is cheonggukjang. Cheonggukjang. Is that right? Perfect.
Crushed it.
And
All
I've
right.
had that one before too.
All right, and cheonggukjang
Wow, what a flex.
cheonggukjang is made by crushing the salted boiled beans that were fermented for 2 to 3 days. So crush those salted beans.
Salted boiled beans.
I'm gonna make you guys eat that in LA next month.
All right, and then we have Dambokjang, which is made by adding minced radish and ginger to the Dambokjang. The fundamental difference between Dambokjang and soybean paste lies in the fermentation period and the salt content. All right, I think I've done pretty good. So Nathan, why don't you do the last section?
Sure. Well, I only have a few left. The gochujang, which is what we've talked about, is the spicy red pepper paste with this one's made with glutinous rice, which I didn't actually know gochujang had rice in it.
Gochujang.
Gochujang.
You slipped into gochujang, and I was like, "What? Wait, hold on. You were doing so good."
Measure power, malt, and salt. Malt and salt sounds like a new band.
Malt and salt.
And welcome, malt and salt. Okay, sorry. We got cho gochujang. Oh, why is there an extra cho on the start of that?
Because it's a type. It's made by mixing gochujang with vinegar.
So it's a vinegary version of gochujang. Popular used for dressings, which is like a rite on hodopap. Rice bowl with raw fish. I don't know. And dipping sauce for the raw fish. So this is what you could use for some sushi. There you go. And then Ssam Jang, which is the spicy paste, which is gochujang and doenjang.
Doenjang.
So it's a mixture of those two, but it also has some sesame oil, garlic, scallions, and onion. And you can use this for food wrapped in a leaf.
Ssam
Jang.
I'm glad you explained that O-E-E-O pronunciation. That's helped me a lot.
I'm always confused by that.
Just gotta,
every time I
learn
really
that
short
Hangul,
time.
man.
Yeah. That helped me a lot.
So once again, that's Ganjang, Doenjang, Choen, Gookjang, and Gochujang.
As dictated by Nathan. Yes.
As the dictator by Nathan.
That is the end of our section, our talking through. Covered a lot of ground.
That was
I
a
think
lot.
it's all really interesting. So
yeah.
we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna get into some Jang of our own.
Ooh, Jang.
We'll be
Jiggity Jang.
Jang.
Jiggity Jang boys.
Jiggity Jang boys. Food part. Hey. Food part. Hey.
We are back with the food part. Hey.
We are back with the food. Hey.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Janchi Show. We are post break, and we are back with the food part. Heyo!
Food part.
It is everybody's favorite section. We are having some jang, Korean sauce or
Jang?
soup base. Specifically, we're eating. I just saw.
Mild
Ssam Jang,
Ssam Jang.
which is the spicy paste made by mixing gochujang and doenjang, along with sesame oil, garlic, scallion, and onion. But I don't have any food wrapped in a leaf to try it with.
We are doing the mild
carrots.
Ssam Jang for our listeners.
When I bought it at the store, I saw multiple spice levels. I went with mild just to start so that we could get, the flavor of it because I didn't want to overpower the spice.
All right.
That's why I went with this one. And I don't know if I've had this or not, actually, to be honest. So
on the inside, it does show a tray of vegetables as what you would use to dip, as an example.
Yeah. This one is made by O Food.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yep. O Food.
Or their Korean name, which is O Jong Jang Won.
Chojang Won.
Or just O Food. So interesting.
I refrigerated mine.
I did not refrigerate mine.
So it says to refrigerate after opening. So you're good.
It says you can refrigerate after, but I just did it prior because I figured it would last longer if I did. I didn't know when we were going to eat it. So.
Yeah, the directions say, for your convenience, remove the lid and the cover film.
That made me laugh.
Yeah, so in case you didn't know that you need to take off the lid to eat the soybean
I can't
paste.
eat through the
film
metal?
Yeah. That's funny.
Or the film, yeah. But then below it says, caution, the color may become darker as time goes by. As a kind of natural fermentation, it's still safe to eat.
Sure.
So
I appreciate that. Yeah, because I would be like, is this dark? I would be looking that up on the internet.
Is it getting bad? Is it going bad? Yeah. Why is it dark?
So it's a refrigerate after opening business?
Yeah. Well.
So in really tiny writing on the
front. The listeners, I opened mine. It looks like chunky ketchup.
Oh, has an interesting.
It's not a great descriptor, but it's also an accurate descriptor.
Has an interesting smell.
It's chunky ketchup.
Oh,
mine doesn't really smell.
I can smell the soy.
Yeah, I can smell the soy. The soy a lot. So Mine is not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mine's not refrigerated.
And the vinegar, yeah.
Yeah, I smell the vinegar.
And it is part solid, part super
Yeah.
watery. If you can see it.
Yep.
It's pretty thick. It's actually
What are you dipping in that?
cucumber.
Oh, you like sliced it. It looked like
Yeah.
asparagus. I heard you say cucumber, and I looked up and I saw an asparagus. I was like, Junior, no. It's a deep cut for any VeggieTales fans out there.
VeggieTales.
Oh, my first flavor I get is sesame.
Oh, you're supposed to mix it up.
No, I'm just dipping.
That's
I get
interesting.
sesame vinegar, a little hint of the gochujang.
This would be amazing with sushi or a meat.
Ooh, sushi or a meat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not so great. Not a great chip dip. Actually, it's not too bad. It's got a really strong upfront flavor. And then
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
it
But
hits
really
me
calms
hard.
down.
Real hard.
I
on
wish
the
it was a
front
little
face.
bit spicier, but I would guess that like the next level up from spice would just be like, why are you so spicy? So
That's what I'm missing. I'm missing the spice.
It goes from
I
mild
think.
to ow.
This is too mild for me, I think.
mhm.
No offense
Yeah.
to the actual paste. I think I just would prefer it to be a little bit more spicy.
Well, you can always go add some more gochujang. So
I could add some of this hot sauce.
yeah, spice it up.
Some
I-
sriracha.
Do a real weird fusion.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty strong at the front of it, and I don't know if that's the vinegar or the sesame or the MSG. This one actually has MSG in it, so warning. to
I
anyone.
wondered because it did taste a little,
Little salty.
seafood-y.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to say, when did I see this on? I think I saw it on Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. No. I heard it on Stuff You Should Know, another podcast. But MSG is like, I mean, unless it causes problems for you, it doesn't like cause problems for people. And it's naturally occurring in seaweed. So if you are eating seaweed regularly, but you're for some reason forsaking MSG, stop that. Because your body understands it as the same. So MSG is just a way to season or add salt to a flavor without just adding straight up, salt, NaCl, to a dish. So it adds a different dimension to the flavor. So we recently bought kimchi with MSG, and then but I said to my wife, I was like, this tastes more like ocean-y, but I think it's because they use a fish sauce in it, and so I just don't like it as much. Like that's not my preferred flavor.
An
So I was like,
Oganjang.
oh, okay, now I can know that I don't want that MSG, that layer of dimension, because
Mhm.
I actually don't like that particular flavor. But
Yeah. Well, I know it's in
there's
some
no
soy
reason not
sauces.
to eat MSG
Yeah,
unless you actually
unless you're
have, like-
allergic to it or have sensitivity, which I think
That-
it just gives most people headaches if you are sensitive, I guess.
Oh, my head!
Yeah. So get that stigma out of here.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All right.
just a general PSA / PSA.
And the more you know.
Ooh, as a terrible chaser, I decided to drink down some of my Diet Cherry Limeade after this, and
Not
it was a
good.
really terrible decision. Yeah.
How many beans out of 5 are you gonna rate this?
I'm gonna jump in. I think I would give this. I'm gonna give this a pre-rating of like 4.5. And the reason I say pre-rating is I want to try using this in some other stuff, and because I think it will really add some flavor, some dimension. It is like it feels. I know it's not, but it seems tomato based. So I think I could use it in a lot of things, especially like I said, if you were doing like a meat, maybe like as a marinade, or you could like cover a chicken breast in it and bake it in the oven kind of thing. There's a lot of ways for it like to get some good flavor out there. Especially like, I don't know, just lately I feel like I'm just doing the same thing with my meats. And so having this, I think I'm really excited to try this in some cooking and see if that doesn't add some better stuff. And I like it on its own, even just eating it with carrots. So I think preemptively, based on what I imagine this will do to my cooking, I'm going to give it 4.5 out of
Nice.
5
Wow.
beans.
Interesting.
I'm surprised. That's a good. That's a pretty high rating for you. Normally, your ratings are down in the middle, the low ratings on things.
I try to be honest about, you know what I mean? Like if something is exactly what I expect,
Yeah.
it's 2.5,
So this
Interesting.
this exceeded your expectations of what it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's higher. Good. Well, hey.
Yeah, because when I heard soybean paste, I was like, yo,
Right.
I don't know. Plus, I
Exactly.
imagine I'd be eating this with a spoon. So I was like, that sounds like a terrible time. It ended up being really good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I knew because I've had, like, gochujang, I was like, okay, it's going to have a little spicy kind of flavor similar to it. I've had bean paste before. Combine the two, and this is what you get. So, I would give it a 4 out of 5, just because I think it's good on the veggies that I'm eating it with now. And like you said, I could eat it with other items, meat and stuff. I don't think I've ever had it with meat, but like you were saying, with like a wrap or something would be good. So maybe put it in a wrap, spread it like a paste in there, and then put all your meat and veggies and things in there. Yeah, that'd be pretty tasty. 4 out of 5 for me.
All right. Well, I'm going to come in a little bit cold and give it a 2.5. I think that I don't know what I was expecting. I like your description, Nathan, of taking a bean paste and then gochujang, two things that I enjoy separately, and then you just put them together, and that's what this is. But it's not what I'm getting from it, I think. I don't know. I'm a little turned off by the flavor. I thought it was going to taste differently. But I also want to say that my 2.5 is preemptive like KJ's. I'm going to try this with other things. I'm eating it with chips currently, regular Lay's wavy potato chips. So maybe not
feels
the
like
best. Maybe not the best dip in. I think I want to try it with some vegetables and dip, and then put it on something else. And I will reevaluate either on the show or never, and never tell anyone. But it's fine. So 2.5 beans for me for now.
Okay. I did read that a lot of people said it's just easier, like you were kind of saying, it's just easier to make your own by mixing doenjang and gochujang. So maybe just making your own at home and mixing it together, because then you can make it to the appropriate spice level and use the two ingredients that you like the most.
Huh.
This
I might have to do that.
Be something interesting. Yeah. And then of course you have to add a couple other things to it: the sesame oil, garlic, scallions. But,
Right.
I can definitely taste the sesame oil in this one. So
I think I would like a stronger hint of onion. I think if I could get a little bit more onion flavor, that would be good for me.
I was thinking a little more garlic flavor for me.
Ooh, okay, maybe garlic too, maybe.
I was thinking a little more meat flavor personally.
Oh, he wants a little bit more meat.
I wasn't getting enough meat from my carrot sticks. So.
Okay. What about some
They're
dog meat?
notoriously devoid of meat, those carrots.
They are, yeah. So I don't hold that against them. I just thought that I should.
Live
They're saying what we wanted,
Oh, hilarious.
All right, well, that is it for this week's episode of the Janchi Show. Thank you, everyone, so much for hanging out with us and for taking time, or I guess adding this into your ear space. If you're doing the laundry or walking your dogs or driving to work or who knows what you're doing. Maybe you're falling asleep right now. Thanks for listening to us. We would love it if you would take a minute to leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. That really helps us get noticed and helps other people find the show, or just telling a friend. That also works too. You can, if you want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email to janchishow@justlikmedia.com. You can tweet at us or message us or tag us or whatever at Janchi Show on all of our social platforms. If you want to hang out with us, you can hang out with us virtually on our Facebook group, the Janchi Show After Party, or in person in LA, August 29th. That's a Sunday. The crowd is going wild.
Just
and the crowd's
4
not
days
going
away.
wild. Yep.
4 days from
is
now.
Is that true?
Yes.
Well, when we air this.
Yeah. When
so
this, I just
really
counted up.
exciting.
I'm pretty sure
Can't
this
wait to see
episode comes out.
everyone.
So, bring a mask, because as of now, LA has a mask mandate again. But we will be doing things as safely and as funly as possible. Those are two perfect adjectives that I use perfectly. Yep. If you want to find me in the world, you can find me at Jang the Fang.
Jang the Fang.
At KJ Relke, wherever I want to be found on the...
Hang the Jang.
Hang the Jang. You can find me at Patrick in the World on Instagram and at Parmesan Strong on Twitter, even though I do not tweet. So follow me so I can get those numbers up, baby. Just kidding. Don't follow me.
And you can find me at nnowalk on Instagram and Facebook. I think I'm friends with most of you already.
To our 150 super ravenous fans, because you guys are ravenous for that Janchi content. Thank you.
Hey, we appreciate the comments, the shout outs, the emails, everything that you guys have been sending us. So thank you so much for all of that. We appreciate it for sure.
We really, really appreciate it. And that wraps up another week of the Janchi Show. We'll be back next week with another episode on Wednesday. Goodbye!
Janchi, hey,
Hey, oh, it's Master Chico. He's back again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's get some Kool-Aid in this house.
What?
Oh, no. You better fix the wall before my dad gets home from work.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.